Hi there, this is Adi from Adi Trinity Music, and in today's video I want to teach you how you can tune your own violin or viola at home using an electronic tuner. I recommend using an electronic tuner when you're first starting out because it will tell you if you are too flat, which means too low, or too sharp, which means too high. The way that string pitch works is that the looser the string's tension is on the instrument, the more flat and the more low-pitched it will sound, or the higher the tension is on the string, the more high-pitched it will sound, or the more sharp it will sound. So you can see I have an electronic tuner. This is a live tuner that I am capturing at the same time. Right now it's flashing like crazy because I'm making noise by talking. That's not any particular pitch. But what this is going to help us with is it's going to tell us if our violin is too low or too high, or if it's just right. So before this video, I went ahead and I tuned my E string already. So I'm going to play for you my E string with the bow. As a side note, I always recommend tuning with the bow instead of by plucking, because when you pluck, it interferes a little bit with the tone quality and it doesn't sustain it as well as playing with the bow. So I'm going to play it with the bow so it's a lot easier for us to tune. So my violin's E string right now should be perfectly in tune, and let's see what the tuner does. So you can see that since my violin is already in tune, it is pointing straight up at the green light, and the green light is showing. That means that it's in tune. When you use an electronic tuner, it'll probably flash a little bit on the left and a little bit on the right, even when you're in tune. That's okay, that's just because it's very, very picky, and that's normal. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my violin a little bit too low-pitched on purpose, and I want us to take a look at what the tuner does as I make the string more loose. So you can see that as I loosen the string and make it a little bit more flat, the needle on the tuner moves a little bit to the left. So if we want it to get back in tune, we just want to go ahead and tighten the string again by turning the tuner, the fine tuner on the violin to the right, and that will also turn the needle on the electronic tuner to the right, back to the green. And there we go. So my E string is perfectly in tune. Likewise, if my E string were a little bit too high, like this, you can see that the needle moved to the right. But we don't want it on the right. We want it to point straight up, down the middle, to the green. So I'm going to loosen it back again by turning it to the left, and by moving that needle also to the left in the same direction. There we go, and so now it's back in tune. So another thing that I want to show you guys is how to use the pegs. Now the pegs you have to be very, very careful with because they are much more sensitive than the fine tuners. The fine tuners, you can turn them quite far and you won't break the string, but the pegs you have to be very, very gentle with, because if you turn it too fast or if you turn it too hard, especially to tighten the string, you could actually break the string because it's a very, very powerful mechanism up here. So let's take a look now at what the tuner does when I loosen my E string by turning it. Woo! In fact, look how far that turned. That turned all the way that my tuner is giving us a different note. It is giving kind of a C sharp note. And so if your tuner ever has the wrong note, that means you're way off. So you have to be really careful whether it is a note or two too high above E, or in this case, a note or two too low below E. So if it's like a C-ish, we want to make sure that we get C, D, E, back to E, nice and high. So I'm going to turn the peg again in the correct direction and watch which way I turn it to make it go a little bit higher. So you can see that when I loosened the peg, I turned it this way towards you, and when I tightened it, I turned it this way. When we do the pegs on the other side, tightening is this way, and loosening it is that way. And so it's not necessarily always clockwise, counterclockwise. It depends whether you're doing these tuners on this side of the violin or these pegs on this other side of the violin. Normally when I tune my string, I would use the peg at the same time as bowing. So right now it says E flat, so I need to tighten the peg. Like that, and now you can see it's a little bit close, so I can use my fine tuners. Just like that. It's really good to be familiar with using both the fine tuners and the pegs to tune your strings, because sometimes your strings might be so far out of tune that turning only the fine tuners will not work. For example, if we are all the way down on this C sharp, I don't know, so this is about a D. This is super, super far off. If I try to turn my fine tuner all the way to the right and raise it as much as I can, I still won't be able to get all the way to an E, so that's why I need to use my fine tuners again. So I hope that was a pretty helpful, simple explanation on how you can use your violin or viola pegs and fine tuners to get the strings in tune by referencing an electronic tuner. And as always, if you found this video helpful, please subscribe to my channel so that you won't miss the next one, and I'll see you soon. Bye!